Most people have heard of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, but most people don't realize that there was actually 5 cities that were destroyed that night. It says when Lot and Abraham had gathered so much stuff and their families were getting so big, they started butting heads a little bit, so Lot moved away to Sodom. And Allah considered Abraham one of his closest subjects. It actually says in Isaiah that Abraham was his friend. So he consulted him on some things that he did before he did them. And he told him that he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah and Adam and Zebulun and Bela, which were the 5 cities of these evil people. But he was going to send 2 angels to save Lot and his family. Now, in Jasher, it elaborates more about some of these other evil cities. Not everybody reads Jasher because it's not in the regular Bible, but it is a very interesting book I found. Found a lot of information it doesn't put in the regular Genesis and stuff in Jasher. And it actually includes all parts of all 5 books. I mean, nearest I could find goes exactly with everything in the Bible. It just elaborates on more of it. But regardless, all 5 of these cities were mentioned either in the Old Testament, the New Testament, or the Quran sometime or another. But, as I said, it's Sodom, Gomorrah, Adam, Zebulun, and Bela, but it's spelled Zorah, Zora. But it says that people would come into these cities and they would shower them with silver and gold. And then the shopkeepers would refuse to sell them anything, and refuse anybody who came into them cities to leave. They had beds laid out on the sides of the streets for anybody to sleep, but if you weren't as tall as the bed, the people would come out in the middle of the night and stretch you until you were as long as the bed was. And they also, if you were as tall as the bed, then they would come out and they would fold you in half in the bed until you screamed, and then they would taunt you for screaming. I mean, these were evil people. It was also ran rampant with homosexuality, which is biblically a sin. I mean, people can live however they want, I suppose. We have that freedom as a person, not just in America. We always say we have that freedom as an American, but you have that freedom as a person to live however you want. But there are consequences for certain things. Because it says in the law I live by, Allah's law, do not lay with a man like you lay with a woman, or vice versa. For a woman not to lay with a woman like she would a man, or with a beast, or with somebody that's too close to kin. And they are very specific in the law. But And all that is in the book if you really want to get into it, but I'm not doing it right now. But regardless, Hoa sent two angels to save Lot and his family. And it said the two angels showed up at Sodom, and Lot was standing outside the gates. Didn't know these men were angels. They didn't have wings. They just appeared like men, is what it says. And he seen them and asked them to come spend the night with his family. He would get them food and shelter or whatever. So they came with him to his house. And it said the other men of the city came to Lot and banged on his door and asked him to send these men out so they can get to know them. And the Bible is very clear on get to know, and most of the times was to have sex. They were wanting to have sex with these men whether they were willing to or not. And it says the angels blinded these men so they could not find the door. And they told Lot and his wife and his two girls that they needed to run because Hawa was going to destroy the city. And he begged them if he could tell his other daughters that were across town and married and save them their husbands. And they said, well, you can go tell them. So he went and told his daughters and their husbands what was going to happen, and the city was going to be destroyed, and that they all needed to run, and they all laughed at him. He told him to go away. He said he was drunk. So he went back home, and an angel said for him to grab his wife and his two daughters and run to the hills, because these cities were going to be destroyed with fire and brimstone. And he asked him if he could run to Sodom. They said that was not going to be far enough from Hawa's wrath. They said, run to the hills and do not look back. When Hawa tells you do not look back, he means it. And I'll show you. That when they were running, they heard the fire and brimstone coming from the sky and destroying the people and the screams and all that. And his wife stopped for a second, thinking of her daughters that she had left behind. She instantly turned to a pillar of salt. And I'm sure that Lot was a little distressed about his wife turning to pillar of salt, but he didn't stop. He kept on running with his daughters until they hit the hills. That's why I say when they say run, don't look back, they mean it. And some people think I'm cold because I have been told to walk away and don't look back on some people. And still it's hard, you know. It does hurt my heart to run, don't look back, but some people say I'm cold because I try not to stay too closely to people because I know that at some point most of these people are not going to be saved. It says in the Bible to not choose anybody over Hawa. Not your mother, your father, your wife, your children, nobody. So I try to keep them first in my heart always, and even though I've spoken to these people, if they do not listen, they do not hearken to the word of Allah, then that is not my decision. They told me I've done what they told me to speak to everybody about their greatness, how good they are, how there's different than the God they've been told about. And And there is a difference between what I believe, my faith, and the God that most people are worshiping, because most people believe that Jesus is God. But my God is God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Hawa, as it said in the Tetragrammaton. Before they originally changed it in the Torah, Hawa was mentioned over 3,000 times. And you still see it some in at least the King James Version Bible, I know, because it keeps on saying I am throughout the Bible, speaking in reference to Hawa. So I know it was originally Hawa. And people don't realize how much the Bible has been changed. And this kind of goes off my original point of Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, I was just originally telling you that there was actually 5 cities instead of just 2 evil people that were destroyed. But, and this is documented, this is easily found, this isn't some kind of conspiracy thing. The Bible has been changed many times. I mean, the Catholic Church changes the Bible every 30 years in a way. You can look back and see the different translations where they used to say Hawa in replace of Hawa. They just changed some of the vowels and try to make it a V instead of a W or a Y to throw people off. The Jewish actually say Hova, Haya, and I can't remember the third one, which means to be, was being, and always will be. But still, it tells you the word is Hawa. Haya is how it's spelled, Hayah. The Y makes a W sound in Hebrew, so it's Hawa. Never has changed. But please, if Hawa speaks to you, then listen. I can guarantee you, if you have any question, you get down, you ask, and you concentrate on it a little while, then you'll get an answer. Generally, it's not an answer we like, but you'll get an answer. Like if you want to change something in your life, and you ask sincerely, and you concentrate on it a while, they will give you an answer. In your head, you'll find it come to you like lightning sometimes. And it's generally not something you want to do, but they will give you the answer. Listen. Please, listen. Because generally, if you don't listen, you may end up like Jonah in a place that you don't want to be. He was called to do something, and he didn't. He ran, and Hawa had him swallowed up by a fish. For 3 days, gave him time to think about it. When he got over and decided, okay, I'll do it, that fish spit him out on the shores of the place that he was supposed to have gone. So please listen. If they tell you, wake you up out of this, or if they've woken you up out of all this matrix that we're in, and you preach to all these people or whatever, and they don't listen to what they've put in your heart, what you found out, then stop. There's many times I've tried to help people, and they don't want to listen. They're too busy. I said, well, listen to them. They're too busy. Keep on stepping. So I keep on stepping. And if people think I'm harsh or they're harsh, then so be it. But I love Hawa more than anybody, just like it says. More than my father, my mother. I don't have a wife anymore, and more than my kid. Some people have many children, but I only have one. But I love Hawa more than him too. And if these people don't listen, well, bless them, but it's not my place. I don't know what they have in store for everybody. I just want to be on the side that is right. If you don't believe what is going on in the world today is biblical, look at the lakes and rivers that are being dried up. The rivers are being dried up. In China, one of the biggest rivers in the world, is going dry. In what they call the Middle East, the river Euphrates is going dry. Which is not the river Euphrates, because the river Euphrates is actually in South America. It says in Genesis that there was a great river, the River Nile. It had 4 great tributaries that came off it. The Amazon River is the biggest river in the world, which flows out of a spring that comes from Antarctica. It is the only bigger bodies of water than the Amazon River are the oceans. This is documented the biggest river in the world, with 4 great tributaries off of it. They try to put this over in the middle of the East, the Nile, the Euphrates River, and the Tigris River, and the other 2 rivers just supposedly disappeared for whatever reason. None of these rivers are connected. They put over there. They named over there. The way it's put in Genesis, they were all connected. All connected to the Mediterranean, but that is not what it says. Think about what they've tried to put, the wool they tried to put over your eyes. Just like it says in the Old Testament a lot of times that it mentions corn, but in the words not. I mean, there are other ways of saying corn, but it does say corn a lot. Corn is indigenous to America. It didn't get all over the world until they discovered America. And you can look that up, it's easily found. It was cultivated here for 10,000 years according to the internet. But, it all happened over here. You listen to the stories of the Indians, and all their stories match stories that were in the Bible. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes. And remember, if they tell you to run, run fast and don't look back. Don't worry about nobody. And thank Allah for everything, for every blessing, for the good and the bad. if you consider it bad. If you are going through things, then thank them for putting you through the test, because they favor you. They want you to learn truth, and they want you to be strengthened as one of their disciples and one of their tools. Thank them for everything, because it all comes from them. Well, it says all good and evil comes from them. Yes, I believe in the evil angels, as they put it, fallen, but I still believe they were created as the tempters. They had a purpose, and they still serve Hawa. As always, be safe, study, pray, try to get as close as possible, because that is what it says. It is about a relationship with them. And maybe one time that you will be considered as great a servant as Abraham, which it says was his friend in Isaiah. It says, Abraham, my friend. Now that is a great servant. You are considered his friend. So everybody that follows his commandments are his children. Not everybody. Another thing they kind of mess up is they say, oh, we're all his kids. He cares about us all. But it says actually everybody follows my commandments are my children. It doesn't matter what your descent is. By the law, if you follow their law, then you are as of that blood. Doesn't matter where you come from. It's what you choose to be. You see it 1,000 times in movies and stuff. Doesn't matter where we come from. It's what we choose to be. It doesn't matter if we have what blood we have in us, even alien blood, or giants, or whatever. We choose to be. I've kind of went on ranting a little bit. I'm going to let you go. As always, Allah Hawa, and may you be blessed.